called Clairwood, The Untold Story. The second was called Kalapani, or The Indentured Roots. This will be published as an ebook very soon. Let's go back to the first book, Clairwood. Why Clairwood? Clairwood is a dedication, the book rather, is a dedication to the pioneering spirit of the first group of Indians who left the sugarcane plantations. They left the plantations after working for 10 years from pre-dawn to dusk. They were ill-treated, physically abused, some committed suicide, others died of malnutrition and illness. They referred to it as Narak or hell. At the end of the contract, they heard about Clairwood, where the land was cheap, so they packed up the small bundles, took a train, and left. And finding the land which they bought or leased, they started farming immediately. Within a short time, the swamp was changed into lush veg and fruit farms. With that came entrepreneurs who owned spring carts, which were drawn by horses. They left very early in the morning, pre-dawn, to take the products to the Indian market in Warwick Avenue. Others carried baskets of vegetables to the European areas or the white areas in Montclair and Bluff. Incidentally, the whites did not want the land which became Clairwood. They settled in higher ground. And they were surprised at what the Indians did to that area. As the township or settlement developed and more people came in and the numbers swelled, the farmers had to move west. The land was cut up by Mr. Shabali into decent-sized plots, allowing for sufficient space for owners to continue with farming. The farmers moved to Wentworth, which was called Cabbage Farm, and the others moved to the Bay Head area, which is called Bob's Place or Beauplace. Both areas continued supplying the needs of the people of Durban. The next phase in Clairwood was the development of schools and temples. There's an old Indian saying that do not live in a place that has no temple. So there were 9 temples and shrines. Now remember, there were no architects in those days. People like Christopher Reddy had a working knowledge of designing and building a temple. He built many temples, and some of them are still existing, like the Subramani Temple in Horsham Road. There's the Muruga Temple in Jacobs Road, pristine conditions. The second problem that they had there to attend to was education. Schools were initiated in garages and under trees. Monies were collected and 7 schools were built. There was even a school in the graveyard, which is called naturally a graveyard school. So, having taken care of education and religion, they were able to attend to music and other aspects of living peacefully, and that was music. Music was self-taught. Musical instruments were bought from their own pockets, money from their own pockets, and also by taking short loans. Bands popped up, both Western music and Eastern music. I recall the very talented musical family, the Roypens. And Edgar Roypen was a very successful band leader. And there was Sam and the Latin Kings. There were bands like Star Orchestra that played pop music from the films. They were all very popular in Clarewood, and many of us used to wait for weddings just to listen to the music. There were also singers of note, like Eddie Watts, who gained international status. Then there was Vijayalakshmi, and so on. As far as sports were concerned, the community put by and bought 2 pieces of ground that were converted into soccer fields. Soccer was very, very popular, both on Saturday afternoons and on Sundays. Saturday afternoons also. There were A, B, and C teams, and by the end of the season, rather, the A team, the winners would have paid B teams, etc. We move on to subsistence. Coming from a rural background, we grew all the vegetables we needed in our backyards. If you go to my house, which was in 157 Harton Road, you'll still see a mango tree, which is there for 100 years. If you go to Cedar Road and Archery Road, you'll see mango trees and jackfruit trees. The residents lived off the land and off the ocean. There were many fishermen who fished for their table at home, and the excess they sold. There were others who went shrimping. Shrimping means just where they pumped shrimps for bait, and they also netted shrimps to sell. And there were some very interesting characters in Clarewood. There was a bagman who came once a week with haberdasheries from home to home. He was a short person who carried 2 large bags. He was fair in complexion and he was always ruddy because of the heat. There was a mattress walla who sewed mattresses. He used coir from coconuts, teased the coir, filled the mattress, and made it available to us. And those who can't afford mattresses use godries. Now, many of you may not know this a type of duvet. We took old clothes, packed them up into a type of a wallet, a casing, and we stitched the edges and stitched the cloth that was inside so it doesn't move. These so-called godries were used on the floor instead of mattresses. Remember, most of us lived in joint family systems. The rooms were not enough. So 3 used to sleep on a bed, sometimes 4, and the others used to sleep on the floor. We were poor, but we were happy. We looked forward to weddings because there was no invitation. Everyone was invited to the wedding. And when it came to Hindi weddings, greetings. Today, I would like to talk about the 2 books I have written. The first was self-published and very successful. and it was called Clairwood, The Untold Story. The second was called Kalapani, or The Indentured Roots. This will be published as an ebook very soon. Let's go back to the first book, Clairwood. Why Clairwood? Clairwood is a dedication, the book rather, is a dedication to the pioneering spirit of the first group of Indians who left the sugarcane plantations. They left the plantations after working for 10 years from pre-dawn to dusk. They were ill-treated, physically abused, some committed suicide, others died of malnutrition and